I'm Jen West, professional rebel of delight.
And I'm Dave Wiesdock, sage of creative scaffolding.
And this is shadow casting. Good day, audience. It is time for another quote cast. Today we're going back in time to a Greek philosopher, Plutarch. And as Dave told me before we started talking, Hunger Games hero.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
May the odds be ever in our favor.
Yes, we need that. All right. So, Plutarch, here is our quote of the day. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. I don't know why, but it makes my face like happy and excited reading that quote.
Oh, me too. I'm beaming from ear to ear.
Yeah, it is an interesting concept that we're not trying to throw a whole bunch of information into our mind. We've almost been trained that that's the goal, to fill our heads with information.
Yeah. You and I talked about this, just us, the other day. We talked about how learning is something that is about uncovering, not filling, right? As we learn, it's the idea that we let go of and uncover and release these things that we've held on to that limit us. And what's really interesting about this quote, as we were researching it for our quote cast, is that the last word, I'm assuming in Greek, can be translated a few different ways. And so we saw it as but a fire to be kindled. And we also saw it as a fire to be ignited. And I don't know why, that just blazes in my mind. And where this quote leads me is my value of curiosity. And curiosity is not a timid little kindled flame. It is a blaze that generates and has warmth and inspires, and it's a creative force. And when we fill our minds with all this influence and outside situations, and if we're doom scrolling, our mind just becomes very heavy and weighted.
Like a tamping out of the energy. There's just too much in there.
And the reason for that is it's like we're like stumping on our flame, right? We're snuffing out our spark. But curiosity, and the reason that I see this as curiosity, is because it is a fire, it's a light, it's bright, it's lifting up. And that's what happens here.
Yeah, well, and I really like the idea that we're taking our mind and no longer making it something that holds something else. Instead it's an energy that needs to be fed so that the energy can keep burning and keep growing. The mind as a vessel, you just think about packing stuff in, and it doesn't matter what's packed in. It's just supposed to be full of something. When you think about a fire, you want that fire to have good fuel that's useful. I don't know, because you could throw gasoline on a fire, but maybe that's why you use kindled, because that's just like a high burst flame, and you don't really need your mind to be a high burst. You need your mind to keep the flame, to not let it die out. I don't know.
Yeah, so there's this energy in this quote of what are you feeding your mind and how are you feeding your mind? What comes to mind for this is when I was in chiropractic school. They used to say it was like drinking from a fire hose, because you are just blasted with hundreds of hours of medical knowledge in a very limited time frame. And what happens is your brain can only hold so much information. And unless you are what are those,
Like Sheldon Cooper.
thank you, that's exactly right. This is why we are the co-hosts that we are. Yes. You're like Sheldon Cooper with the picture memory. That's one thing. But most minds are a vessel that can only retain so much information, like a sponge. And if we are constantly berating our mind, it's never given time and room and space to breathe. And that's what comes up in this quote. Are we dousing and drowning our mind with information, or are we absorbing and allowing ourselves to tease apart, articulate, hold space for, question what comes our way. I found when I was learning through this fire hose that the headaches and the migraines and the stress came when I was just trying to be a container for everything I was learning. But really, what happened, and again, I'm a kinesthetic learner, so I need to touch and feel and interact with and get my hands dirty. And what happened is that was my way of kindling my own fire. When I could absorb the information in a tactile way, it created the ability for me to grow and expand on that information. And what happened is I was able to learn more that way. And so, what this quote shows for me or brings up for me is, are we just a sponge that's just soaking in whatever comes in with us? Or are we using a level of curiosity and space to breathe and embody what we're experiencing and learning in order to grow from that?
Well, and a fire uses the
Right.
kindling, and it's so, but you have to take action with it. That's kind of what I fear. Like the fire uses it, absorbs it, it eats it. So you have to keep adding more to keep the flame alive. So it's like not holding on and hoarding information from the past. It's always going and looking for more to use. And then it gets used up and you go find something new. And so it's not hoarding that information. It's taking it, making use of it, and finding the next best thing to use. It's a qualitative use instead of a quantity. It's not how much you've collected.
Oh, it's not how much you've collected, it's how you use what you've collected.
Yeah, and you actually use it up so that you can collect something new because the world is always changing. It's alive. The knowledge that you had may not help you with the problems of today or tomorrow. So you've got to collect something that's useful for now. It's kind of like AI. You know, some of the tools that we used before, now we have AI for that. And to use those old tools to have that old mindset doesn't serve us as well. We have to now create our mind to be able to adapt to communicating with AI and seeing AI generated stuff and what's real, what's not. Yeah, it's a new fire that we have to burn.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting. So, what that brings up for me now is this idea that the vessel has this like cold, earthy, repressive energy to it. But when you talk about it in that way, then the second half of this quote almost has this aliveness to it, right? And you're living in it and you're in it. And that's why you need to keep feeding it because it is active, it's engaging, it's being used. And there's a brightness to that.
Is it
Wow.
a library? Is it history? Or is it alive? And a
Yeah.
fire has to be alive.
Yeah. And or there's qualities here that come up now in my mind too. Like there's stubbornness. Am I the vessel that this is the way it is? Or am I space and openness to, well, what else is possible? What else could I create, do, play with, be in this situation? There's again that a light living in the moment. It's kind of like, is my mind relying on the past, or is it moving forward and being present with where I'm at right now? Because that's true too. If I put a pile of dirt on the ground, I could come back 3 weeks later and that pile might be there. But a fire has to be tended to, it has to be cared for, it has to be nurtured, it has to be observed. And so there's this active consistency that comes up with that.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what our audience has to say about this one because as we've been exploring it, it's changed for us. What comes up for the audience as they look at this quote and what we've said? Are we out of our minds? you know?
Are we being vessels or fire?
Yeah. Join us. What are you, fire or, a vessel?
Yeah. And as always, make sure to subscribe, share out our podcasts. If you think someone would enjoy this quote, share it with them. Let us know what they think and what you think. And until next time,
See ya.